Hey everyone, it's Matt here from FXR. Today I'm here with Levi LaValle to talk about FXR's 2025 Crossover Collection. Levi, crossover is kind of a term that gets tossed around a lot, but what really is a crossover rider? What does crossover mean to you?
Yeah, crossover rider to me is the guy that wants to do it all. I consider myself a crossover rider. I love going and blasting down the trail. Any opportunity I can get off trail, I'm definitely out doing that. And in any of the kind of any conditions, whether it's cold, it's warm, it's very versatile rider, and you need the gear that matches that style of riding and conditions. So that's what crossover is, and FXR has the gear that can span all of them different conditions in riding styles that you do. So crossover it's a very versatile word, very versatile term as far as like what it all consists of. So to have the gear to match up to that, you need to have something that's extremely complex, we'll say, to be able to accomplish all those different riding things and conditions.
Sure, yeah. I mean, crossover riders ride in all sorts of different temperatures, all sorts of different snow conditions. Whenever the snow hits, whether it's mild, whether it's freezing cold, you want to be able to get out there and take advantage of it. And that gear has to be versatile enough and be able to adapt to all sorts of different, all these different conditions so that you can get out there and conquer that snow and have your best days.
Absolutely. And thinking about crossover for me, being from the Midwest, we're always out riding down the trails and we're crossing the lakes and rivers and whatnot. And in that crossover segment for FXR, one of the big cornerstones is the FAST technology, flotation assist safety technology. And what that is it's essentially your gear floats. It's buoyant so that if you ever get in a situation where you break through that ice, that's your insurance plan right there. And for me now, knowing how well that works, I won't ride without it.
Yeah, you've done all sorts of testing for us. You've even volunteered to go for a swim or two in the freezing temperatures, so you can speak to it. But fast insulation gives that buoyancy assistance, just for that added protection, and especially just for a little bit of extra peace of mind. Like you said, no matter where you're going, frozen lakes or rivers, whether it's areas that you're familiar with, or sometimes you're riding in new areas where you don't always know the conditions, just gives you that little bit of extra peace of mind that you've got that safety technology with you.
Absolutely. And the thing that's really cool about what FXR has done is all of the youth gear having the fast in it and stuff. Like, I think about that a lot more now, having kids, when we're out riding. And if you were ever in that situation where you were to break through, right now we ride with our kids on the sled with us. So, I mean, if you went through, it's one thing getting yourself out, but, with a kid in the water as well, it's nice to know, hey, they've got fast in there, they're going to be safe.
It's almost one of those things, when you go to the mountains, you don't ever go riding without an Avi pack, right? That's just part of the safety protocol. That's just part of what you do. And if you're riding over frozen lakes and rivers, you almost want to have that same mindset where, you better make sure, or you just want to make sure that you have fast insulation.
That's a great way to look at it. To say like you don't go riding without your Avi pack, that's the same thing. Don't go riding without fast in your gear.
Yeah. Let's talk about a few of the key crossover styles and what we're going to review today, pieces that feature this fast technology. In our crossover collection, we feature 3 different monosuits in men's and women's, 4 different men's jackets, and 5 different women's jackets, all with matching pants, of course, that feature key fast technology. In monos, starting with the Maverick, the CX, and the Recruit mono. In men's outerwear, we have a Renegade FX jacket, the Boost FX jacket, a CX jacket, and a Fuel jacket. And in women's, we've got the Renegade FX, the Evo FX jacket, the Boost FX jacket, the Pulse jacket, and the Fresh jacket. Quite a few options and lots to choose from. Now, we do know also that not every rider that is either in the Midwest or anywhere, let's just call it, that's flat. People that take trips to the mountains, not everybody needs the extra fast insulation that's in the shell of the jacket. Some riders, of course, need flexible insulation options so that you have a jacket that works when you go to the mountains. You can zip the liner out. You've got an uninsulated shell so you can get your layering dialed, and you still need mountain waterproofing technology. FXR has some great pieces for those riders as well, including all three of these monos that we just mentioned being offered in light uninsulated as well as insulated versions, so you can wear it as a shell. And we have three great men's pieces: the men's Maverick jacket, the men's Helium Pro 3-in-1 jacket, and the men's Helium X jacket, as well as a women's Maverick and a women's Edge piece. All of these pieces offer zip-out insulation, so you can wear it with the liner in when you're back home, or when it's cold, zip out the liner when you go west. And the pant options that go with these, you can also get them in a light version, which is uninsulated, or with a mid-weight insulation for warmth and versatility.
Yeah, the mono suits, it's funny, like I'd never experienced the mono suit before, and then when I finally tried it, I was like, one of the things that people talk about is like, well, how is that like trail riding and stuff? And I'm like, I don't know. So I took the mono suit. I remember the first time I went, and it's crazy how well it works and how easy it was to move around. I thought it would be tough to like kind of bend and, because I move around a lot on the sled when I'm riding. And I was pleasantly surprised how well it worked. And they have the inner straps, kind of like snow pants straps, to hold it up like that. And I really, like I said, I was very pleased with how well it worked and how easy it was to move around in.
One of the cool things too, I don't know if you noticed, but just how much less bulk is around your waist when you don't have the double layers of jackets and pants.
That
was
was
a lighter
exactly
experience.
it. Yeah, it was great for that. And I wear my monosuit quite a bit, just out trail riding and ditch banging and stuff like that. And I get a lot of questions, especially from the older riders. And they go, "How is that?" And I'm like, "You wouldn't believe how awesome this is."
Well, you probably don't really ever fall off, but if you ever do have a wipeout with a mono suit, it does also keep that snow from getting up inside your jacket and down your back and that sort of thing, so you get that extra protection.
Yeah, when we go play with the kids and stuff, if we're out sliding down the hill or whatnot, it's like the perfect one for that, because you fall off the sled and go sliding down and the back of your coat's all full. Not with the mono suit. All right, technology. Let's talk technology. Fast, by far the most incredible technology I've ever seen in a gear before. Thinking about the flotation assist safety technology, I've experienced it firsthand. All that goes into it is absolutely mind-blowing. But when I went in the water, and had the full experience, middle of winter, you get in there, and the first thing is when I fell in the water, I didn't once think about like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna sink. You feel like you got a life jacket on. And the best part about it is it's not only just your body, your upper body, it's your legs as well. And that was so key for me to try to experience going in and then trying to get out on that ice. Being able to have my legs float, my body level. You're able to slither out onto that ice, and it's not like climbing out of the pool. You can't just go up to the edge and push yourself up. You have to slither out, and that additional flotation in my legs was so key.
Yeah, so FAST is a special insulation that FXR engineers into our suits, our jackets, our pants, our monos, that offers buoyancy assistance for up to 2 hours should you break through the ice and fall into the water. It's a really key point that you mentioned about your pants and your torso floating up. Over half of the buoyancy of the entire suit comes out of the bottom half in the pants. So it's super, super important that you wear a FAST pant and a jacket together. It's one of the ways that you get your body level and your feet and your legs up, so you have a chance to kind of slide yourself back up onto the ice. Like you said, you're not just dangling your feet down in there and pushing yourself, and as they often say, you kind of try to go back out the way you came, because at least the ice is going to be a little bit thicker in that direction. But you still don't know how thick that ice is, and you got to be very mindful of climbing back out and spreading your body weight out as much as you can. Now, what about you were able to get yourself leveled off and back up onto the ice? What did you notice as you're climbing out?
So as I was climbing out of it, the first thing is, like I said, you kind of like slither your way out onto the ice, and you make sure that you're on sturdy ground. But once you're on sturdy ground, once I stood up, you can literally see all the drainage. The water runs right out the bottom of your coat, right out the bottom of your pants. So you no longer are like trapped in this cocoon of cold water. It evacuates it almost immediately. And when I started, I started walking back. I was about a quarter mile from shore, and I remember walking because I wanted to really experience it. And what was fascinating to me was by the time I got back to the cabin, I was warm again. And when you evacuate that water, you evacuate the cold, it's kind of almost hugging you like a wetsuit, keeping your body heat in, and that's what kind of kept me or warmed me up faster. And I was absolutely blown away with that whole experience, how well the gear worked.
That's so cool to hear, and that is one of the key things about fast insulation is that it does retain its thermal properties, whether it's dry or wet. And I mean, one of the things too that we got to talk about, because we put fast in so much of our gear, is the way it's engineered into the suit, the fit and the cut, and how it's pieced into the suit so that you don't really feel like you're wearing anything other than just a standard insulated snowmobile kit. So you can move around without restriction, and you don't feel like you're wearing anything bulky or heavy. You can just kind of ride the way you want to ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing is some people ask me, they're like, so is it bulky? Is it different? And I'm like, no, you literally, it feels just like your normal coat that you would wear, and you're able to move around. You know, I get real aggressive out on the sled, and I've never had any restrictions from the fast. You just literally feels just like your normal coat. And I think the fact that you don't notice anything different with fast makes it a no-brainer to absolutely have it for, you know, any kind of riding in the Midwest.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things to note too, if you try on one of FXR's pieces with fast insulation, at first it will feel a little bit stiffer than a normal piece, but give it 3 or 4 rides and it will break in a little bit and start to feel softer and more flexible. So Levi, you've done the experiment for us. You've gone in, broke through the ice, gone into the water. Someone that's never had that happen to them before, what would you tell them in terms of what to expect as this happens and the shock that you go through?
Oh, it's quite an experience. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing it, but I guess the cold plunges are kind of the cool thing nowadays. But when I went in, the first thing you notice is, you eventually will get that cold shock. But I was surprised that when I jumped in, it wasn't an instant like whoa in my face. I could kind of feel the water would slowly leak in, and I think I almost liked that more because it was like, oh, legs getting cold, body's, it wasn't like this full body freeze. But then once it got there, you definitely have the cold shock and you kind of hyperventilate a little bit, you lose your breath, and you just got to tell yourself, calm down. And I think the thing that made it easier to calm down was the fact that I wasn't worried about sinking. You literally are floating in there and you feel so buoyant. When I jumped in, I think my whole upper body came out of the water like a bobber. I'm like, holy cow, I'm buoyant. And once I got in there and I kind of calmed down, I rolled over and I started working my way out. And I think just knowing that you have, your body level with the flotation in your legs and in your upper body, I was able to kind of slither my way out so easily. I was quite surprised how easy it was to get out. And then once I got out and I stood up, I got on sturdy ground to make sure, you're not going to fall through again. Once I got up there, it was incredible how the water flowed out of it. It has all that drainage on the bottom of the coats and whatnot. And once I got moving, my body temperature started getting warmer. And like I said, by the time I got back to the cabin, I was comfortably warm. And that was quite a surprise after jumping into ice cold water to be that warm afterwards.
No doubt. And it's a key thing you mentioned, but how quickly you actually popped back up and almost surprisingly how far out of the water you came.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that happens, when that water starts to hit you, but your body goes through a bit of you mentioned it, like a cold shock response where you kind of start hyperventilating, you start gasping a little bit, and it's so important that you're kind of up there and your head's above water while you can kind of gather your wits, calm yourself down a little bit, and start to focus on, okay, let me float up, let me get level, let's focus on turning around and try to get out. But it's cool to hear that it was able to kind of really pop you up so aggressively, and then you could just kind of focus on those next steps because that's the most important part.
Yeah, and I mean that's everyone's fear when you go into the breakthrough is, I got to get out of here, and stay afloat, or you want to stay up, right? And with fast in there, you're not worried at all about buoyancy, because I was so buoyant. Never once was I like, oh, I got to keep paddling to stay up or anything like that. I mean, and you can only imagine what people would do in a normal situation if you didn't have fast. I mean, I can't imagine how much heavier with all that water weight. I mean, it almost make you an anchor in my mind, like a traditional coat. But with fast, that's the furthest from your mind is like, gosh, I hope I stay afloat. And it was like once I got up, it just made the whole situation that much easier to get out and keep me safe.
Yeah, if you go in with a suit that doesn't have fast, there is a small period of time where there's a bit of air trapped in the suit, but it is quickly exhausted and it starts to just become saturated and become weight that now you're trying to keep afloat in addition to your body, whereas the fast insulation does the opposite and actually, of course, stays buoyant.
Yeah, it's definitely a must-have for anybody that's riding over lakes and rivers, and especially for the kids.
There you go, folks, taken from our fast ambassador. That's the true story right there. FXR utilizes a key tech in our shell material called OmniStretch. OmniStretch is a full 4-way stretch shell material, and we also have a second tech called M-Series Omni, which is a directional stretch that we engineer zonally into our pieces.
It really allows you to be mobile on the sled. For me, you don't want any kind of resistance when you're riding, and having that flexibility, the pliability of that material is phenomenal. And the best part is it's snag and tear resistant, because we all are out in the trees. Them sticks, they sneak up on you in that running board. So it's nice to know that you got a durable material.
Definitely. FXR utilizes Hydrix Pro and Hydrix as its waterproof breathable membrane.
Hydrix is across the entire lineup, or all of the different pieces that FXR makes, and it's been tested throughout, from the rain gear to the mountain stuff. Out in the mountains, everybody's been out there in that, that wet, heavy snow. I mean, it almost feels like you need a raincoat. No need anymore. You've got Hydrix there to protect you.
One of the things that makes FXR's crossover pieces and FXR pieces in general so versatile is the amount of venting that we engineer into all the pieces. FXR uses a special vent system called the dry vent system for all of our vents that utilizes a special DWR coated mesh behind the vent zippers.
It's so awesome. When you're out riding, the last thing you want is to get overly warm, start sweating, and then continue riding and freeze, So one of the tricks that I always do is I open the vents before I go. If I'm going to go ditch banging and I know I'm going to be moving around, I'm going to be building heat, I open the vents before I start. And then if I start getting cool, it's as simple as zipping them down. But the best part about it is that mesh, it works so well in those conditions when you're going through the powder, you're taking on a lot of snow. It keeps the snow from getting inside, but yet you still get the air to cool down.
It's a very unique mesh and a cool technology that allows you to ride with your vents open whenever you need them. One of FXR's key technologies is our ACMT system. ACMT stands for Advanced Climate Management Technology, and it's a really cool system that works to not only aid in the waterproof and breathable properties of the garment, but also to fight condensation as well. The ACMT system is made up of 3 main components. You've got your outer shell with Hydrix Pro, you've got a free-hanging inner lining also with Hydrix Pro, and it is fully seam taped and also working in connection with the dry vent system. Now the way this whole system works is almost a little bit like the way a double lens goggle works to keep the inner lens from fogging and building up moisture. You can kind of picture the way that works, and it works almost in the same way for your entire body, in the way that as you're working hard and as your body's putting out heat, it keeps moisture and condensation from building up on that inner lining of the jacket so that the vent system can exhaust that air and bring in cool, dry air, and that's what helps you keep you cooler from the inside and out.
It works so well. Like when you're out riding hard, it's like, it seems like the more you ride, the better it works, because it's nice because you don't notice any difference. And I think that's the good part. You don't notice that, wow, I'm getting clammy, I'm getting, wet feeling. It's like that's what ACMT is doing. It's evacuating that air, getting that condensation, that moisture out of there, keeping you dry.
It's kind of neat because the colder it gets, the better ACMT actually works. As the temperatures go down, more and more moisture will inherently want to build up on the inside of the shell of the jacket. And the colder it gets, the better ACMT works to actually keep that moisture from building up inside the piece and keeping you dry.
Yeah, and that analogy of the double pane lens is such an accurate one. I mean, we all know when you go from a single pane lens, how the condensation builds up, it fogs up, all that. And that's the same thing that's happening with your coat. When you're out riding, your body's warm, that outside air is cold. It's nice that, you know, the ACMT is essentially that double pane lens for your body.
The technology that's been specifically engineered by FXR to really deal with the issues that snowmobilers have and people that are out there in sub-zero conditions, keeping you dry in sub-freezing temps. One of the things you'll notice in select FXR crossover pieces is the Thermal Dry Active Liner. This is a 2-in-1 removable liner that allows you to zip out the insulation when you don't need it. This liner utilizes a special moisture wicking mesh that sucks moisture away from the body and helps keep you dry, and also just really remains soft and flexible and gives you an unrestricted fit. One of the important things to note about any FXR jacket that features fast insulation but also has the Thermal Dry Active Liner is that when you zip out the liner, the fast insulation is still in the shell of the jacket. So even if you take the liner out, you still have that fast insulation for protection and a little bit of added peace of mind either way.
The thing that's nice about it is when you're out riding, you're going fast and you've got that wind pressure on it, it still keeps its loft, keeping it nice and cozy inside.
Yeah, you get your full thermal value, whether you're standing around or going up into the triple digits.
All right, we're going to talk FXR Mono Gear Guide. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of the mono suits. Fire it up with the first one, Matt.
Starting at the top with FXR's best and most high-end mono suit available in men's and women's is the Maverick Mono. This piece not only features fast, but also an Omni-Stretch shell, the ACMT system with Hydrix Pro, and the dry vent system.
Next one up, the CX, which is one of my favorites. Has a rugged outer shell, Hydrix Pro, dry vent, and obviously fast, which is the go-to for me.
Capping out the bottom of the mono collection at the entry level is FXR's Recruit Mono. It is very similar to the CX Mono, features a rugged shell with Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system. It has a little bit less bells and whistles, a few less features, but still has all the essentials to get the job done.
And all of the FXR mono suits are available in fast and a light version.
The cool thing about the light version is that you do have the ability to add an optional fast insulated removable liner. So if you still want that fast feature, but you want versatility to be able to wear just a shell for different conditions or different temperatures, but still add in that liner for insulation and have fast technology for safety, you can still do that and get the best of both worlds.
All right, we're going to talk about the FXR Monosuit Gear Guide right now. We're going to start from the top. Matt, take it away.
FXR's best mono is the Maverick Monosuit, available in both men's and women's options. Not only features fast insulation, but also an Omni-Stretch 4-way stretch shell, utilizing the ACMT system with Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system.
One of my favorites is the next one on the list, the CX, which it has a rugged outer shell, Hydrix Pro, dry vent, and my favorite, fast.
Capping out the collection is FXR's Recruit Mono. The Recruit is very similar to the CX. It's got the rugged shell with Hydrix Pro, utilizing the dry vent system and of course fast insulated. Just a few less bells and whistles, but still all the essentials to get the job done.
And all of the FXR monosuits come in a fast insulated version and a light version.
The cool thing about the light version is that if you're a rider that either takes a trip to the mountains or you just want to be able to have flexible insulation, so when it's warmer you don't need all that warmth, you can order the light version and add a removable liner that does have fast insulation so that you get the best of both worlds and you have flexibility and versatility for your mono.
Perfect for that Midwest rider that does the trips out west, able to have the best of both worlds. FXR Men's Jacket Gear Guide. We're going to start right off from the top. Matt, take it away with the Renegade.
All right, our high-end men's crossover jacket, the Renegade piece, Renegade FX jacket, is a 2-in-1 jacket with a removable liner. This one has all the features, all of our best tech. It's got not only fast insulation, omni-stretch 4-way stretch shell material, it's got the ACMT system with Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system.
Next one up, we got the Boost FX, which is the one right here. The Boost has 2-in-1, which is inner liner removable. You have fast, rugged outer shell, Hydrix Pro, and dry vent.
Our next piece, as we go down the collection, is our men's CX jacket. It's got fast insulation with a rugged shell featuring Hydrix Pro, waterproof breathable, and the dry vent system.
And finishing it out is the Fuel, which is this one on the back here. And that one also has fast. It has a rugged outer shell, Hydrix, and dry vent.
Let's look at our gear guide for men's crossover pants, starting with the Renegade.
All right, the Renegade FX comes in both a bib and a pant, and it features fast, omni-stretch, ACMT, Hydrix Pro, and dry vent. And it has a full leg zipper.
The next pant in the collection is the Mission FX pant. This pant features fast insulation, M-Series omni-stretch, has ACMT with Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system, and it features 3/4 length leg zippers.
And the final one is the Clutch FX here behind me, and that features fast, rugged outer shell, Hydrix, and dry vent, and that is a knee-high zipper.
There you go, your good, better, best for men's crossover pants.
All right, FXR Women's Jacket Gear Guide coming up with the Renegade. Take it away.
Starting at the top of the women's crossover collection is the women's Renegade FX. This is a 2-in-1 jacket, so it's got a zip-out liner. Comes with fast insulation, of course, omni-stretch 4-way stretch shell with ACMT, Hydrix Pro, and dry vent.
Evil FX is a fixed jacket, meaning non-removable liner. Has fast in it, omni-stretch, Hydrix Pro, and dry vent.
Next up, we have the women's Boost FX. This is another 2-in-1 jacket, so you can zip the liner out of this one. Comes with fast insulation in the shell. It's a rugged shell material with FXR's Hydrix Pro and also utilizes the dry vent system.
Next up is Pulse, which is a fixed jacket. It comes with fast, M-Series Omni, Hydrix Pro, and dry vent.
Rounding out the collection is FXR's women's Fresh jacket. It's a bit of a softer shell featuring Hydrix waterproofing technology and the dry vent system.
And that concludes the women's jackets. So now we'll go over the FXR women's pants. Go ahead, Matt.
First up is our women's Renegade FX pant. That's this one right here, utilizing fast insulation. The shell is made of omni-stretch 4-way stretch shell material, utilizing the ACMT system with Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system. The neat thing about this pant is it's got full leg zippers and the drop seat feature.
The next pant is the Fresh, which is the purple one here, and that comes with fast and Hydrix, and it also has a knee-high zip.
That's your selection for women's crossover pants.
We went over the crossover segment, but there's another group of riders that like to be able to go out west and have uninsulated gear because you're obviously building so much heat, carving around. But then when you get back to the colder temperatures, the Midwest, you're able to have that liner. So we have a zip-out liner that Matt's going to tell us about a little bit that's in the lineup here.
FXR has some great pieces for riders, like you said, that travel to the mountains but still need insulation from time to time. So whether you choose to ride it as a shell more often than not, add that layer back in, add that liner as a mid layer almost when you need it, or whether you're the opposite way around where you leave that liner in most of the year and just take it out once in a while. But let's go through a few of the key pieces, starting with the Maverick jacket. FXR offers the Maverick in a men's and a women's. This piece features FXR's full omni-stretch, so 4-way stretch with ACMT technology. So that's that dual layer technology utilizing Hydrix Pro and the dry vent system to not only keep you dry from the outside in, but from the inside out. And of course, heavy duty waterproof zippers and waterproof technology throughout. The Maverick is FXR's most premium backcountry and backcountry crossover piece. Stepping down a notch, you have for the women's collection, a women's Edge, and in the men's, you have men's Helium. both featuring M Series Omni stretch. So M Series Omni is a directional stretch, so it's engineered into the piece to stretch and move the way you move. Still features FXR's ACMT technology. So you can see what that is by looking at the lining of the jacket, and you can see it's FXR special Hydrix Pro bonded inner lining utilizing dry vent. So that's what that shell is going to look like. And this is what that inner liner is going to look like. This is FXR's thermal dry active liner. So like I said, if you're the type of rider that wants to take that out and only use it when you need to, you can do that. It comes out easy. It's packable, it's stowable. You just move it out of the way, or you leave it in for the colder temperatures and just take it out when you need it. But FXR has a great collection of pieces for those type of riders that need versatile and flexible insulation options when you just need a shell or when you need the full insulated. And the matching pants for these jackets are available in both light options and fixed insulated with a mid-level of insulation.
For more information on the backcountry crossover pieces we talked about, check out FXR's Backcountry Overview.
All right, that's a wrap. We managed to do a full summary on FXR's crossover collection. Took us a while, and I'm spent, man.
I'm spent. There is so much versatility in this 2025 lineup for crossover. I mean, you look at any condition you want to go ride in, whatever kind of riding, crossover is exactly that, versatility, and this FXR lineup is stacked.
There really is more than meets the eye that gets built into all of our pieces, and it's just one of those things that you didn't realize it had, but it really does help you go out and have your best days out on the snow.